Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Inglorious Gun here, and Happy New Year to you. At the time of recording, we are on the eve of 2025 with a lot of mixed feelings, but today we're going to be discussing kind of a continuation of my last ranked video for Marvel Rivals. We're going to be discussing like solo queue in particular and expounding upon dealing with the nature of like attrition when it comes to climbing, and then trying to find your desired path, I suppose, with how you would like to progress going forward with your rank journey, right? Like in my last video, I discussed like potentially being able to play flex. That way you can fill gaps in the holes of your team. But in reality, with comp, a lot of people kind of come in, not necessarily with a one trick, but with a desired play style that they are more or less going to stick through under the precipice that because they're skilled, it shouldn't matter whether or not they're playing their desired character. If their personal performance with that character is sufficient enough, then that'll be all their team needs, and it will just be a compounding factor. When in reality, in this rock, paper, scissors format with hero shooters, there's definitely a lot more variables that go into that. And with Vanguard especially, there is a through line of things that like this, which probably weren't for the best, right? I admittedly was trying to be annoying and get in their backline, fucking with Cloak and Dagger, one of their healers. It's easier for Cap to kind of go in, run through his combination, because I think within his whole base hit cycle, he can pretty much wipe out any 200 health hero, right? But otherwise, the alternative being shielding and covering for your teammates, that should be a priority as well. And as a Vanguard specifically, that's something you deliberate in between all of your matches. But I'll level with you, and I'm sure many people can attest if you are watching this video that if you are playing solo queue and even if you are playing with friends, not even necessarily a stack, but you just have a buddy with you and you're trying to run comp, it is infuriating. You are truly at the behest of your teammates in a team game to a certain degree, right? I think there is a lot of impact you can have individually as a player, but I can provide you a plethora of scenarios in which you feel like you're performing your desired role, whether that be a healer or you're playing Vanguard and you feel like you're getting a lot of kills, or duelist even, but objective wise you're not progressing at all. You're still losing round after round, and your elo is just degenerating back into bronze 3 as it does until you eventually climb out. And this isn't necessarily something that gets better with the increase in rank. You would presume that would be the case, right? Like the skill ceiling should be reflective of what elo people have at a given time, but I think there is a lot more luck and other factors that go into potentially placing those people there. Speaking from experience playing like fighting games, the amount of people that would rage quit to make sure they didn't lose LP on Street Fighter, or their rank on Tekken. Not saying that's specifically the case happening here due to the log out penalty system, especially with ranked, but stuff akin to that, like getting hard carried by the people you're playing with, where your impact was pretty marginal and they were just so on their shit that by extensions you rode their coattails into an immense amount of LP in a rank that realistically you may or may not deserve to be into. But again, that's all subjective. It's on the basis of the individual. But yeah, I would say prior to this game, like the last four just were infuriating. Playing Vanguard to the point where even if I did want to switch characters, potentially to the benefit of my team, trying to make the most out of your teammates is ideally going to be your goal path for a solo queue player, right? If you cannot make an individual impact where you're essentially carrying the game, you want to position your teammates in a way where you can kind of utilize their attributes to the best of their ability, even if they aren't the best players in the world, right? Like, if I block for my shitty DPS, a broken clock's right twice a day, right? In the hope that I'm negating enough damage for them, or essentially giving them enough time, they might hit a fucking shot, or they might hit a rotation, or, they might melt a healer, and that might be the tide turner for that specific wipe, right? So, a lot of it is hypothetical, a lot of it is situational, and I think because of that too, it's very easy to play the blame game. I'm definitely not above it in some situations, but I think the more repeated the failure is and the more you're deranking, the more demoralized you are, right? And then that leads to a lot of feelings of resentment. You end up projecting those frustrations, maybe not on your own abilities, or if you do, you might still just lash out at your teammates, presuming that they are the alpha and omega, the root cause of why you lost that game. And, you know, accountability wise, you couldn't have done anything differently, right, to potentially reorient yourself or change your play. But, you know, it's really easy to get defensive with that shit. A lot of people don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that they're doing something wrong. And it's so easy to, when you are playing a game relying on synergy and not having it, to just baselessly throw stones in a glass house, in a sense, right? So, but yeah, thankfully that wasn't the case here. Our team was pretty on it. With Cap specifically, if I'm not diving the back lane and just being fucking annoying, you do want to keep like his leap attack as an escape tool. That's, you know, usually outside of his sprint, one of his best exits. You know, if he's waiting on a lot of his cooldowns, especially with the 12-second wait time. In a lot of instances, you might dive in, you know, do your full rotation, and you're doing a 1v3, and you're caught with your pants down because, oh fuck, like, I don't have any of my abilities to contest, and I'm just going to get melted because I'm not near my strategist, right? I'm not in the view line of where my healer is, or even my DPS potentially. You know, and then I think staggering happens a lot too in these lower level rank games. People don't really realize that, you know, pushing an objective together as a team, you know, multiplying your damage by focus firing a specific hero is the way that you're going to have any kind of effect, regardless of your composition. That's all kind of secondary, right? But people get so upset that they die and want to get back into the game that they're just like, you know, rank and file one by one, jumping back into the fray, only to realize that, oh, you know, I can't fucking 1v4 a whole team that has both their healers that are, you know, riding the backside of fucking Groot or whatever have you. It's just not conducive to changing anything about how that scenario is going to play out, and it's always going to end with you getting fucking flatlined, your team losing ground, that staggering going even longer. And that definitely happened here with the enemy team. They did get 1 point down, but they didn't move that objective 1 inch. And admittedly, that makes our round of attack a lot faster, right? The goalpost is pretty small, all things considered. We cap the first objective, and then as long as we stand on that shit, move it just more than 2 inches, we should be in the clear. So that's exactly what we do here. And, you know, composition, as far as my team went this round, everyone was pretty on it. I think I'm just realizing now. Yeah, we only have 1 healer, which is wild. We had we had 3 DPSs, and then we just had Adam Warlock holding it down, while we had Penny Parker as our other Vanguard. But thankfully this team is pretty unorganized, and they weren't too persistent about protecting their backline too much. So we were able to kind of dismantle them, and then as soon as that happens, within the 5 or 6 second respawn timer and the walk back it takes just to get back to the first point, the game's pretty much over. So pretty textbook in that sense. Just chilling out here, capping the point. And yeah, there is no stress whatsoever in this situation. They're being very passive. I think once that first death rolls in this scenario, you pretty much know the game's over. So here we are. There is our flag post, and that's game. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and yeah, happy new year to you. Best of luck, and y'all have a great day.